My girlfriend texted, "I expect a $65,000 wedding ring." I responded, "You'll get what you deserve." Then I gave her a plastic one. Her reaction went viral, and 48 hours later, she was begging to apologize. I, 32M, thought I'd found the one. After 3 years together, I was ready to propose to my girlfriend. We'd talked about marriage, kids, the whole future. I had my grandmother's vintage engagement ring cleaned and appraised, worth about $8,000. Not huge money, but it had sentimental value that made it priceless to me. Then came the text that changed everything. I was at work when my phone buzzed. Her message was simple and direct. She expected a $65,000 wedding ring. Not engagement ring, wedding ring. She'd been browsing jewelry stores and had found the perfect one at Cartier. She said all her friends were getting rings in that price range, and she wouldn't settle for less. I stared at my phone in disbelief. $65,000. That was more than my entire annual salary at the marketing firm where I worked. I'd been saving for months just to afford a decent proposal dinner. I texted back that we needed to talk about this in person, but she insisted on discussing it right then. She said she'd already shown her friends pictures of the ring and promised them she'd have it by Christmas. Her sister was getting married next spring, and she couldn't be outdone by a cheap ring. The word cheap hit me wrong. My grandmother's ring wasn't cheap. It was irreplaceable. But apparently, sentimental value meant nothing compared to social media bragging rights. I told her I needed time to think about it, but she kept pushing. She sent me links to the ring, screenshots of her friends' reactions, even a payment plan from the jewelry store. She'd already worked out financing options without consulting me. That's when I realized something fundamental had shifted. This wasn't about love or commitment anymore. This was about status, image, and keeping up appearances. The woman I'd fallen for had been replaced by someone obsessed with external validation. I spent the next few days watching her more carefully. She'd always been active on social media, but now it consumed her. Every meal, every outfit, every moment had to be documented and curated for maximum likes. She'd started following luxury lifestyle influencers and constantly compared our relationship to the highlight reels she saw online. The breaking point came when she showed me her Pinterest board titled, "My Perfect Wedding." It wasn't about us celebrating our love. It was a checklist of expensive items designed to impress her social circle. The venue alone cost more than I made in 6 months. I made my decision. I texted her back with 4 simple words: "You'll get what you deserve." She immediately called, excited, thinking I'd agreed to buy the expensive ring. She started talking about timeline and pickup dates, but I cut her short. I told her I had a surprise planned, and she'd have to wait. Over the next week, I quietly started documenting everything. I screenshot her demanding texts, saved her Pinterest boards, and recorded a video of her explaining to her friend why she deserved a ring that cost more than most people's cars. Then I went to a dollar store and bought the gaudiest plastic ring I could find. It was bright pink with a fake diamond the size of a grape. Perfect. I planned the proposal for her birthday party, which she'd insisted on hosting at an upscale restaurant. She'd invited about 40 people, mostly to show off what she assumed would be her expensive new ring. The moment arrived. I got down on one knee in front of everyone, pulled out the plastic ring, and told her she was getting exactly what she deserved. The room went silent as she stared at the ridiculous piece of plastic in my hand. Her reaction was immediate and explosive. She screamed that I was humiliating her, that this was cruel, that everyone was watching. She was right about the last part. Several people were already recording on their phones. But I wasn't done. I stood up and calmly explained to the room that she'd demanded a $65,000 ring despite knowing my financial situation. I told them about her Pinterest board, her obsession with outdoing her friends, and her complete disregard for sentimental value or fiscal responsibility. The room erupted. Her friends looked mortified, her family seemed shocked, and the videos were already being uploaded to social media. She ran out crying, leaving me with the check for her elaborate birthday dinner. Within hours, the videos had spread across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Someone had edited together her reaction with dramatic music, and it became a meme about entitled partners. The hashtag #PlasticRingRevenge started trending. The internet was merciless. Comments ranged from supportive to savage, but the overwhelming sentiment was that she'd gotten what she deserved. People shared their own stories about materialistic partners and excessive wedding demands. But the viral fame brought unexpected consequences. Her workplace saw the videos, and suddenly her professional reputation was tied to her public meltdown. Her friends started distancing themselves, embarrassed by the association. Even her sister, who'd been encouraging the expensive ring demands, publicly stated she didn't condone that level of materialism. Update 1. 48 hours later, she started calling. First, it was angry voicemails about ruining her life and making her a laughingstock. Then came the defensive messages, claiming she'd been joking about the expensive ring and I'd overreacted. But as the internet backlash intensified and real-world consequences mounted, her tone changed completely. She showed up at my apartment at 2 a.m., crying and begging to talk. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept since the party. She said she'd been fired from her job at a high-end boutique because they couldn't have someone associated with viral materialism representing their brand. She apologized profusely, claiming she'd gotten caught up in social media pressure and lost sight of what really mattered. She said she loved me, not my wallet, and would be happy with my grandmother's ring or no ring at all. But I'd had time to think, and her desperation felt hollow. She wasn't apologizing because she genuinely realized her mistakes. She was apologizing because facing consequences. The woman who demanded a $65,000 ring was the real her. This apologetic version was damage control. I told her it was too late. The relationship was over, not because of the ring demand, but because of what it revealed about our fundamental incompatibility. She valued appearances over substance, status over sincerity. She pleaded for another chance, promising to delete her social media accounts and change her priorities. She even offered to make a public apology video, which only proved she still didn't understand the deeper issues. Update 2. The aftermath continued spiraling. Her viral infamy had attracted the attention of several news outlets, and journalists started reaching out for interviews. She initially declined, but as her job search proved impossible and her social circle completely abandoned her, she grew desperate for any positive attention. She gave an interview to a local news station, attempting to rehabilitate her image. She claimed the ring demand was taken out of context, that I'd manipulated the situation for social media fame, and that she was the real victim of cyberbullying. This backfired spectacularly. People who'd been sympathetic to her plight quickly turned when she refused to take responsibility. The original videos were reshared with her new interview, and the contrast made her look even worse. Meanwhile, I'd been getting messages from people calling me a hero for standing up to materialism and entitlement. While the attention was initially flattering, it started feeling uncomfortable. I hadn't set out to destroy someone's life. I just wanted to make a point about values and priorities. But the internet had taken my small act of rebellion and turned it into something much larger. I became an accidental symbol of resistance against social media-driven materialism and relationship expectations. 3 months later, she moved back to her parents' house in another state. Her LinkedIn profile disappeared, her Instagram account was deactivated, and she essentially vanished from public view. The woman who'd been obsessed with online attention had been forced into digital exile by that same attention. Update 3. 6 months after the proposal incident, I received an unexpected package. Inside was my grandmother's ring, which I'd forgotten she still had, along with a handwritten letter. The letter was different from her previous apologies. There was no begging, no manipulation, just honest reflection. She acknowledged that her materialism had poisoned our relationship and that my dramatic response, while painful, had forced her to confront ugly truths about herself. She'd spent months in therapy, working through her social media addiction and need for external validation. She'd gotten a job at a nonprofit, far from the luxury retail world that had fed her materialistic tendencies. She wasn't asking for forgiveness or reconciliation. She was simply taking responsibility and thanking me for the harsh lesson. The letter ended with something that surprised me. She was grateful for the plastic ring incident because it had ultimately saved her from a life of shallow pursuits and empty validation seeking. I kept the letter but never responded. Some bridges, once burned, shouldn't be rebuilt. But I was relieved to know that my revenge, while harsh, might have actually helped her become a better person in the long run. The viral videos eventually faded from social media, replaced by newer outrages and memes. But the experience taught me valuable lessons about compatibility, values, and the difference between loving someone and loving the idea of someone. I still have my grandmother's ring. waiting for someone who'll appreciate its sentimental value over its price tag. And I've learned to spot the red flags of materialism and social media obsession early in relationships. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is show someone exactly what they deserve, even if it's delivered in pink plastic. The woman who demanded a $65,000 ring got exactly what her behavior had earned, a wake-up call that cost her everything but potentially saved her soul. In the end, maybe we both got what we deserved.